Today we're going to be looking at the relationship between power and Hamming weight. Basically how the bits a chip set shows up in a power trace and how we can measure that leak. This is the bridge between dynamic power attacks, like we did in the last episode, and the correlation power analysis attack we're building towards. We'll stay hands-on with the ChipWhisperer, but now with a more realistic leakage model instead of just a single bit. A quick recap of last episode with dynamic power analysis. We assumed that a single key-dependent bit flipped the power trace enough that if we group traces by that guessed bit, we could recover an AES key. It did work, but it was a pretty crude view of what the hardware is actually doing. In this lab, we upgrade the model and say power tracks the Hamming weight of an internal byte. So all 8 bits matter, not just one. We'll learn what Hamming weight is, where the SBox output shows up in the trace, and how to plot power versus Hamming weight so we can literally see the leak we're going to use for correlation power analysis next. Hamming weight is relatively simple because it's just how many 1 bits are set in a value. If our byte is 0x53, the binary representation has 4 ones, so its Hamming weight is 4. This matters because every AES SBox output is an 8-bit value, so its Hamming weight is always between 0 and 8. If the chip's power depends on how many bits are set in that byte, Hamming weight becomes a leakage model we can actually predict from plain text and key guesses. When the CPU writes a value into a register or a bus, it's physically flipping transistors from 0 to 1, and each of those transitions costs a bit of energy. More bits set means more current drawn at that instant. So the power at that moment carries a faint fingerprint of how many bits were just written. With DPA, we only watched a single bit and did a two-way split. The Hamming weight we use all 8 bits at once. Intuitively, setting 8 bits costs roughly 8 times what setting 1 bit does. So this richer model supports stronger, more reliable attacks like correlation power analysis. And so step 1 is to reuse the AES SBox model we already built in earlier labs. We have a helper function, AES internal, that for a given plain text byte and a key byte returns the SBox output value we believe is leaking the trace. That output byte is exactly what gets written to a register during AES. The notebook sanity checks this model with a couple of test vectors. AES internal AB, EF should be 1B, and that AES internal 2201 should be 26. Once those asserts pass, we know the math that feeds our leakage model is correct and we're safe to move on. And next, we'll then implement Hamming weight in Python. The easiest way is just with bin.count. It converts the number to a binary string and then counts the ones. The notebook wraps that in a calc Hamming weight function and then pre-computes the Hamming weight for all 256 possible byte values. That gives us a lookup table, HW, where, for example, HW53 equals 4, meaning 53 has 4 1 bits. From now on, any SBox output we compute can be instantly mapped to its Hamming weight just by indexing that table, which is much faster than recomputing it on the fly for every trace and every guess. Once we have Hamming weights for every trace, the first idea is let's color the traces by the Hamming weight of their SBox output and see if the patterns separate. So we plot, say, the first 2,000 samples of each trace and color each trace according to its Hamming weight. But in the raw data, the leak is tiny compared to all the other activity in the chip. So the SBox related differences are basically buried in the noise. This slide is showing that if you just overlay color traces directly, you won't see much. We need more signal processing to tease the leak out. The fix is to remove the common shape that all traces share and keep only the piece that depends on Hamming weight. First, we compute the overall average trace of the entire dataset, which is what the chip's baseline activity looks like with all the data variations averaged away. Then we group the traces by Hamming weight value from 0 to 8, average within each group, and subtract the global mean trace. What's left in each group is a tiny waveform that represents the Hamming weight dependent part of the power. When you plot those mean minus mean traces, the SBox leakage suddenly becomes visible. Once we've done the mean subtraction trick, there's usually one very clear spot in time where the colored curves fan out. That's when the SBox output is being written. Instead of eyeballing it, the notebook finds it automatically. It computes the absolute difference between one Hamming weight group's average and the global average, and then takes the NP argmax to find the sample index with the largest deviation. That index is stored as SBox location. For each Hamming weight group, we can then read Hamming weight averages. To get the measured power at that exact moment, the SBox output hits the bus. Now we take those 9 values, the measured power at SBox location for Hamming weights 0 through 8, and plot them against Hamming weight. The points fall roughly on a straight line. Higher Hamming weights correspond to a steadily different average power level. That linear relationship encodes our leakage model. Setting 8 bits costs at about 8 times the energy of setting 1. Correlation power analysis' entire trick is to predict Hamming weights from guesses of key and plaintext. Turn those into predicted power values, and then look for the key guess whose predictions correlate best with real traces. On most ChipWhisperer hardware, the line we just saw slopes downward instead of upward. That's not because the physics are different, it's because of how we measure current. We put a small shunt resistor in series with a microcontroller's supply and measure the voltage drop across it. As more current flows, the drop across the shunt resistor increases, but since we sample only one side of that resistor, the voltage at our measurement point actually goes down. So higher Hamming weight means more current, more drop, and a lower measured voltage, which shows up as a negative slope in the Hamming weight versus power plot. The ChipWhisperer Nano is a special case because it has an inverting amplifier on its measurement input. That hardware inverts the sense of the signal. So now higher Hamming weight actually shows up as a higher measured value. The slope flips to positive. Same underlying physics, just inverted by an analog front end. The practical lesson is always confirm your hardware slope before you start implementing these plots. If the slope comes out backwards relative to what your theory expects, you can compensate in software by simply negating the traces. But you need to be aware that your board might be flipping that sign. And to zoom out for a second, this is how the traces feeding all of this analysis are captured in the hardware notebook. We pick a scope type, platform, and crypto target, build and flash the AES firmware, and then run a loop where we arm the scope. Send a plain text over simple serial protocol, capture the power trace, and store it. The key is fixed in the firmware, but for each iteration we feed a fresh random input that gives us about 1,000 traces, each with a known plaintext, the same secret key, and one measured waveform. Later in the main notebook, we use that information to compute SBox outputs, compute their Hamming weights, and link them back to specific points in the trace. So to wrap it up, we formalized Hamming weight as count the ones and showed its useful per byte measure of how much data is being sent inside the chip. We then demonstrated that the power consumption at the SBox write instant tracks the Hamming weight in a roughly linear way, and that we can automatically find the SBox location in the trace with argmax. And that gives us a clean quantitative leakage model. Predict Hamming weight, predict power, and match against traces. We also saw that the sign of the slope depends on the measurement front end, especially on the Nano. So you always have to know your hardware.